What's up guys? Today I've got a review for you of the new G36 from the company 3DG. They brought out a version of this last year. Let me just say, compared to that one, this one's on a whole new level in terms of performance. This here was sent to me by Michael, the new manager at Tac Toys. He seems to be steering the company in a good new direction. So if you want to pick one of these up, check out my link in the video description. I do still have a 10% discount code you can use with them, which is just my name, Brad. So if you want to save 10% and support my channel, just use that on checkout. So far, I've used this for an entire day of skirmishing. I've chronoed it with a stock spring. I've chronoed it with an upgraded 1.3 spring, which only takes about 30 seconds to install, and it's completely external. I've tested the rate of fire with both of those springs, and I've also tested the accuracy. And let me just say, out of the box, this is probably one of the best performing blasters I've ever used, especially at that $300 price tag. So without further ado, let's get into the review. The G36 from 3DG is a mag-fed AEG gel blaster based off the Heckler & Koch G36K. The body of the blaster is built with very thick, high quality nylon, which gives it a decent amount of weight, and it feels very rugged and sturdy. There's no flex at all, and also has a matte finish, which feels really nice in the hands. Internally, it has a nylon V3 gearbox with Tokyo Marui compatibility. It has a metal piston ladder and metal gears. Starting at the front of the blaster, it has a safety orange flash hider, which simply friction fits on, so you can just pull it off. And that reveals a 14mm counterclockwise thread, so you can add a tracer unit or something like a Muzzletech Hellfire hop-up. Now, when I took this to the gel ball field, I used it with a Hellfire hop-up from Muzzletech attached, and that gave it insane groupings at 30 meters, even with no other upgrades at all. Inside of that metal outer barrel is an alloy inner barrel with a 7.5mm inner diameter. So it's ideal for AKA gels or larger ones like that, but I used Ultra Elites in it just fine, and it lost a little bit of FPS using them, but the accuracy gain was definitely worth it in my opinion. Moving slightly further back, this front pin is what you have to remove to take the handguard off. As you can see, that's where the battery is kept, and there's a massive amount of storage space inside of there. You could fit a Titan stick battery in here, for instance, although this is wired for Mini Tamiya out of the box, so if you want to use the Titans and stuff like that, you'll have to rewire it. It does come with an 11.1 volt battery and a B3 charger, which is better than those cheap USB ones that people usually get with a gel blaster. Moving back from there, you've got an ambidextrous charging handle, which opens an ejection port on the other side of the blaster. It doesn't offer mag prime or any actual functionality though, it's simply just for looks. Speaking of the mag release is behind the magazine close to the trigger guard. So if you're used to an M4 or something with it on the side, it might take a little bit of adjusting to get used to. The mag itself is a smoky black transparent color, pretty much the same as the Real Steel G36 mag, although where this one differs is it doesn't have those couplings on the side to join multiple mags side by side. I'm not sure why they omitted the couplings, because even the old Wells G36C got that true to life. These mags hold about 260 gels, and they are proprietary to the G36 from 3DG. As for spare mags, I've spoken to Michael about that, and they're on the next container to be delivered to Tac Toys, so they're about a month away. Moving further back, the select fire lever gives you safe, semi, and full auto, although you'll notice the lettering is SEF, which is the German words for safe, semi, and full auto. The fire select is ambidextrous, so whether you're left-handed or just changing hands for a corner, you'll be able to access that fire select easily. Now, something I didn't notice out of the box is just how loose the grub screw was on one of my fire select switches. I was running around with this at the Battle for Waterloo, and at some point during the day it fell off onto the gel ball field, never to be found again. I contacted Michael at Tac Toys, and he is express posting me a replacement fire select switch. It hasn't got here yet, so I can't show you what it looks like having one on, but by the sounds of it, it's not a spare part they carry, so he's actually scrapped an entire G36 just to send me that one small part. But anyway, when you get these fresh out of the box, Just ensure that the grub screw is nice and tight, because mine fell off. Now, the only other complaint I have with this blaster is that on semi-fire select mode, sometimes it'll fire 2 gels at once instead of just 1. For most people, you're just going to be using it on full auto, so it's not a huge deal. But if you play somewhere that has a rule set of only 1 gel per trigger pull, just be aware of that with this particular blaster. But now, let's talk about the most awesome thing about this blaster, and that's the folding stock. It's made of the same heavy-duty, thick nylon as the rest of the blaster, also has that matte finish. At the rear, it has rubber padding where it sits up against your shoulder, and when you fold it, it clicks in nice and securely against the side of the blaster. In fact, you have to pull pretty hard to get it back off again. But when the stock is folded in half, you have quick access to change the spring out. And with metal gears and a metal piston ladder, you can easily swap that to shoot above 300 FPS with a simple upgrade. In fact, Tac Toys sent me a 1.3 spring, which I'll also be testing in this today. To swap out the spring, just get a flathead screwdriver, kind of put a little bit of pressure on it, push it in, and then turn it. And just be careful because it will shoot out across the room if you don't let it off gently. So this is the stock spring, and here's the 1.3 spring that they sent me. To get it back in there, you probably don't even need the screwdriver, to be honest. Just push it back in there, turn it with your finger, maybe grab the screwdriver just to finish it off. There you go. Okay, so that's pretty much all of the video that I can legally do at home here. I now have to head out to a gel ball field to actually shoot this. What I'll do though is I'll chrony the stock spring and check rate of fire. Then I'll chrony the upgraded 1.3 spring they sent me and also check rate of fire of that in case it changes. I'll do an accuracy test at 30 meters and then I'll end with some gameplay footage. Now, before I chrono this though, I just want to remind you the inner diameter of the inner barrel on this blaster is 7.5 mil. So it's ideal in terms of velocity for AKA gels or other larger gels like those. I prefer the accuracy of Ultra Elites though, so I'm going to use those. They do shoot about 20 FPS lower though when you use a 7.5 mil barrel. So just keep that in mind that if you do use AKAs, it'll shoot 20 FPS higher. Also, if you swapped out the inner barrel easily for a 7.3 mil, you'd get the same effect. First up, the stock spring.
265, 264, 265, 233, 260, 261, 246, 258, 264, 265.
So with the stock spring, we got a high of 265, a low of 233, and an average of 258. Keep in mind with AKA gels, this would shoot about 280, or stepping the barrel down to 7.3 mil, which is pretty easy to do. The Ultra Elites would also shoot about 280. Now let's try rate of fire. So rate of fire was 1,260 rounds per minute. Divided by 60 gives us 21 rounds per second, which for a stock blaster is actually pretty impressive. Now let's throw in that 1.3 spring and see how that performs.
296, 217, 290, 304, 291, 314, 291, 305, and 299.
Alright, so with the 1.3 upgrade spring installed, which only takes about 30 seconds to do, the high was 317, low was 290, and average was 301. Keeping in mind again, if I had to swap the inner barrel out for a 7.3 with the Ultra Elites, we would have got more like 330 with an average of 320. Now let's see if the rate of fire has gone down at all as we step up the spring. Rate of fire on full auto is 1,233 rounds per minute. Dividing by 60 gives us 20.5 rounds per second. So it's only dropped by half of a round per second. Basically nothing. Alright, so now I'm going to head over and do an accuracy test for you. The distance is 30 meters and the target has a 1 meter diameter. I'm just going to shoot some short bursts. I've got the Hellfire hop-up screwed onto the end of the muzzle. Let's see how it hits. Pretty good. So for a stock blaster that all I've done is add a hop up to it, those groupings are actually really good. They're fairly comparable to even highly modified blasters. If you're new to gel ball though, that's the kind of accuracy you can expect from a gel blaster. They generally require burst firing to hit someone. They're not going to be as accurate as airsoft. Summing things up, I'd have to say the G36 is a great blaster, especially for the price tag. It's solidly built, performs brilliantly out of the box. The fire select having the ability to come off if that grub screw is too loose out of the box is a bit of a letdown, but the ability to quickly fold that stock and change your spring out without opening the blaster up is a huge bonus, especially if you play at multiple fields with differing velocity limits. Simply throwing on a Muzzletech hop-up has this shooting as accurately as any other gel blaster I've ever used. I'd have to say, I definitely recommend this blaster. If you want to pick one of these up, you can get it for just under $300 using my 10% discount code BRAD. But for now, I'll end the video with some gameplay. As always, thanks for watching, make sure you subscribed, and I'll see you on the next one. Running out of ammo. I'm out of ammo. Can I make it back to spawn without dying? Except from the bush. Except from the bush. Oh! Shit, I'm hit. Hit!
Where's your friend? Damn it.